Hello, this is Max. A man who has spent many years in solitude tries to locate his kidnappers and find his daughter. Don't forget to subscribe. In 1993, Joe Doucette arrives at work, where he learns of a call from his ex-wife regarding their daughter's third birthday. An argument ensues as Joe dismisses its importance. Despite this, Joe seals a crucial advertising deal with Daniel Newcomb. Later, Joe misunderstands a colleague's intentions, leading to a disastrous encounter. After drowning his sorrows in alcohol, Joe aimlessly ventures into Chinatown, rejected by a friend and accidentally bumping into a woman with a yellow umbrella. His night takes a strange turn. He ends up in a mysterious motel room where he becomes trapped without any means of communication. As the years pass, Joe's only contact with the outside world is through meals delivered to his room. He starts hallucinating and forms an imaginary friendship with a bellhop. Eventually, he befriends a rat, which provides him with companionship until they mysteriously disappear. Joe experiences bizarre incidents, including gas-induced unconsciousness and televised accusations of murder. In the late 1990s, Joe begins a transformation, quitting alcohol and using television programs productively. He starts marking his years in captivity through self-tattoos and compiles a list of potential abductors. He also dismantles his bathroom tiles, inching closer to escape. In 2013, Joe finally manages to escape by squeezing through a loosened tile and backtracking his written letters, which he stores in a pillowcase. Nevertheless, Joe's attention is ensnared by a broadcast of mysteries of crime featuring an interview with his daughter, Mia. He grapples with the decision to either watch the program or continue his escape. Suddenly, smoke infiltrates his room intentionally, causing him to lose consciousness. When Joe awakens, he finds himself inside a trunk in an open field, transformed into a well-groomed man wearing a suit. His collection of letters is with him, alongside a purse of money and a smartphone displaying Mia as its wallpaper, accompanied by an 84-hour countdown timer. Surveying his surroundings, Joe spots the same yellow umbrella as from 120 years ago and pursues it. The umbrella's holder, a woman, flees, and Joe's pursuit leads him past a football field where a jock confronts him. In self-defense, Joe incapacitates the jock and his teammates, continuing his chase. The umbrella, now in the possession of a man named Johnny, a volunteer nurse named Marie Sebastian, intervenes, diffusing the situation. Dr. Tom Melby, present as well, apologizes for Johnny's kleptomania. Joe flees the scene but is caught up by Marie, who offers her business card for assistance. As night falls, Joe seeks refuge with Chucky, recounting his bizarre story. Chucky is both amused and puzzled by the ordeal. Moments later, Joe's smartphone rings and a man with a British accent instructs him to delve into his past before disconnecting. The mysterious caller wishes Joe happiness with his daughter, Mia. Following the call, Joe retrieves his list, and he and his friends spend the entire night researching the names. When Chucky checks on him the next morning, he witnesses Joe's collapse, prompting an emergency call to services. However, recalling that his friend is a fugitive, Joe opts to contact Marie using her card. After receiving medical attention and fluids from Marie, Joe begins to recover, while Chucky retraces the events of the previous night and Joe's mysterious reappearance. The bar owner excuses himself to open the bar, and Marie stays behind. Drawn to Joe's letters, Marie reads several of them before Joe wakes up, irate at her intrusion. Marie expresses her belief in his unjust imprisonment and her desire to help him reconnect with his daughter. However, Joe intimidates her due to her knowledge, but eventually lets her go. Marie offers to connect him with authorities, but Joe declines. At that moment, he receives a text message asking if he has started his search. Joe's first stop is at the nursing home of his old boss, Bernie, surprisingly accompanied by Marie. Joe initially draws a weapon but reconsiders upon witnessing Bernie's frail state. During lunch, Joe remembers the takeout meals he was frequently served, prompting Marie to assist in searching for restaurants with the name Dragon. Through a series of amusing experiences, they eventually discover the right dumplings. Joe waits in the restaurant, where a regular with an unusually large order enters. Sensing a potential lead, Joe follows the delivery boy, hijacks a bike, and tails the man's vehicle to a warehouse facility. There, he eliminates the receptionist and confronts his target, Cheney, the proprietor. After a brief confrontation, Cheney reveals limited information about his imprisonment. Listening to tape recordings, Joe hears the same British accent as Cheney's service provider 20 years ago. Meanwhile, an employee discovers the lifeless bodies and triggers an alarm. Joe faces a wave of thugs but eventually defeats them, exiting the building. Waiting for him is a car and a man with a British accent. Back at the bar, Chucky hears a horn blaring and rushes out to find Joe heavily injured. At home, Marie researches the crime Joe is accused of when she receives a call. Joe wakes up with his injuries dressed and eavesdrops on an argument between Marie and Tom, the doctor. Marie drives away and Joe implores her never to return. Later, Joe receives a call at the bar, which prompts him to call back. Unexpectedly, the person he's calling is present at the bar. Realizing this, Joe grabs a knife but is easily subdued by the stranger's companion. Chucky attempts to help, but other patrons side with the stranger. The stranger tears up Joe's list and presents him with a deadly ultimatum involving his daughter Mia. Joe reluctantly agrees to play a dangerous game proposed by the stranger with the goal of winning evidence of his innocence and his daughter's safety. The stranger outlines the rules, including answering 2 crucial questions within 46 hours. The consequences of failing to play or going to the police will result in Mia's death. Upon arriving at an address provided by the stranger, Joe is captured by Cheney and his men. Just as Cheney is about to exact revenge, his phone rings and he accepts a bag of cash left at the door, prompting him and his men to leave. Marie breaks down in Joe's arms. In the meantime, the stranger and his companion observe them through hidden cameras positioned all over Marie's house. The companion undresses the stranger, revealing extensive scars on his chest and shoulder. While this happens, Joel flips through Marie's family photos while she's in her room. Shortly after, the nurse comes out carrying bags and expresses her feeling of insecurity in her own home. Just then, Joe receives a call, but it's abruptly disconnected. Joe comments on the unique ringtone of the stranger. Marie uses an app to identify it as the anthem of Evergreen Academy, the stranger's old school, though there's very little information about it online. The nurse tracks down the former headmistress of Evergreen, Edwina Burke. As they head towards the school, Marie initiates a brief moment of intimacy with Joe, who remains emotionally distant. Upon reaching their destination, Marie confronts Edwina, who invites her for tea after learning that her visit is related to Joe. Inside, the nurse asserts the fugitive's innocence, suggesting that someone else from Evergreen might be responsible. Meanwhile, Joe sneaks away to investigate further, focusing on the yearbook. Marie inquires that there might be someone with a deep grudge against Joe, but Edwina has no suggestions. The nurse then asks about the fate of the school, and Edwina informs them that it was sold to a corporation that left it abandoned. Marie bids farewell, and they leave for Evergreen, but they find it heavily guarded. Consequently, they decide to return under the cover of darkness, checking into a motel in the meantime. Marie sends a picture of Adrian to Chucky, who promptly recognizes the person and promises to gather more information. After Marie's bath, she offers to change Joe's bandage, which leads to a more close moment between them. Meanwhile, the stranger becomes intoxicated as he observes their close interaction unfold. Later on, Chucky recalls their connection and promptly calls his friend, reminding him of the derogatory term used for the girl from their previous school. However, his friend is currently occupied with Marie. Unbeknownst to Joe, his smartphone has been cloned, allowing the stranger, who is actually Adrian Price, to erase any trace of Chucky's call. Before long, Adrian confronts Chucky at his bar, enraged by the insult directed at his sister. That night, Joe and Marie break into Evergreen and delve into the school records, discovering that Adrian indeed has a sister. Joe recalls an incident where he mocked Amanda, Adrian's sister, in the laundry room. Another memory comes to mind of Amanda getting close to a man in the campus greenhouse during the night ceremony. Their search through the archives uncovers the tragic history of the Price family. After relocating, the family suffered a devastating loss, leaving only one gravely injured young man. The pieces of the puzzle start coming together when Joe recognizes the man in the greenhouse as Arthur Price, the father of Adrian and Amanda. As they leave Evergreen, Marie finds a package inside her car, containing a tongue. Back at the motel, Marie dissuades Joe from confronting Adrian, arguing that regardless of the outcome, he wouldn't be reunited with Mia. Undeterred, Joe makes the nurse promise to stay inside the motel before he drives off in Marie's truck to confront Adrian. Joe calls Tom, providing him with directions to the nurse's location. Subsequently, he contacts the mastermind and directions appear in the navigation system. Determined to find Mia, Joe enters Adrian's location armed with a typer wrench. However, the bodyguard is caught off guard and doesn't anticipate Joe's concealed box cutter. Upon entering, Joe discovers a lifeless woman on the floor, and Adrian discloses that Mia is nearby. Joe must correctly answer pre-agreed questions to proceed. He successfully identifies Adrian and acknowledges that the root of his animosity stems from the gossip surrounding Amanda after the greenhouse incident, possibly leading to the family's hasty departure in a bid to protect their reputation. Joe recognizes that Arthur must have constantly lived in fear of the truth catching up to him, which ultimately drove him to desperate actions. Despite this, Adrian defends his father's character, insisting that their family had something special. He recounts the tragic events of the day when Arthur shot their entire family before did the unthinkable. Shockingly, Adrian was the only survivor. Joe acknowledges that Adrian's twisted game has been beaten by the truth. He is then escorted to Mia, descending a series of steps and corridors. During this journey, the mastermind questions why Joe never asked why he was set free. When they arrive at the set of Mysteries of Crime, Adrian reveals that Joe was its only viewer. Adrian triggers Joe's memories by playing an interview with Mia's adopted parents, reminding him of the day he vowed to change. Then, Akela's music starts playing, bringing a smile to Joe's face. He sees a beaten Mia playing behind a glass enclosure. Savoring the moment, Adrian remarks on how easily people believe what they see on TV and allows Ashley, who is playing a role, to leave. Joe demands to know Mia's whereabouts and unleashes his fury on the mastermind, but Adrian remains unfazed. He encourages Joe to contemplate why he was set free, and Joe starts to tear up. Deep down knowing the answer, Adrian proceeds to play family videos of Mia, revealing that it took 20 years to orchestrate the circumstances for this moment. As the video plays, Adrian's master plan is slowly revealed. Joe watches in agony as his baby Mia grows into a woman who is revealed to be Marie. The realization hits Joe like a wave of despair, and he screams. Adrian revels in Joe's anguish, and the father begs to be killed. The mastermind calls Marie, but Joe hands up quickly. Adrian explains that Joe was set free to experience what the Price family had and how devastating it was to lose it. He kisses Joe tenderly and pulls out a gun, doing the unthinkable in the background of children's videos. Joe is left speechless, and he sends the majority of the diamonds, supposedly a present for Marie's 3-year-old self, along with a letter expressing his enduring happiness with her. However, they cannot be together. The remaining diamonds are given to Cheney, and Joe spends his remaining years in his old, solitary room. As for Marie, she uses the money to move away, carrying with her the memories of Joe and the happiness they once shared. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.